Assalamualaikum viewers and welcome back to my channel Biodinverse Hub. Today in the playlist of oral and maxillofacial surgery, we will be continuing on the same impaction series in which our today's topic of discussion will be about the difficulty assessment. So first of all, we will be discussing about the rationale behind it. In order to obtain the optimal treatment plan, in order to calculate the time required in order to conclude and predict whether it will be conducted under the dental surgery or under the specialized setting, and at last to predict that whether this case will be conducted under the local anesthesia or the general anesthesia or under the LA sedation. So these were some rationale behind the difficulty assessment level. After that, we will be studying the methods to assess the difficulty of an impacted tooth, in which the first are the whorl lines, after that the Pedersen's assessment, the parent scale, and the Wolff's assessment. So these were all the methods that will be used in order to calculate the difficulty level associated with the removal of impacted tooth. So let us first of all discuss the whorl or the Winter's line. So the word whorl basically indicates that in it we will be the W represents the white lines, the A represent the amber line, and R represent the red line. So we will be discussing the three lines in the whorl lines, that is the white line, the amber line, and the red line. So let us first discuss the white lines. White line basically tell you about the axial inclination of the tooth or the depth of impaction. It corresponds to the occlusal level of the molar teeth. It indicates the difference in the occlusal level of the second and the third molar, as you can see in the diagram as well. After that, we have the Amber's line. Amber's line, it basically the margin of the alveolar bone covering the impacted tooth. It represents the bone level. It basically denotes the alveolar bone that is covering the impacted tooth and the portion of the tooth that is not covered by the bone. After that, we will be discussing the red line. So now the red line is basically an imaginary line that is drawn perpendicular from the amber line to the imaginary point of application of the elevator. So you have your amber lines, and then you have to basically depict an imaginary point at which you will apply your elevator, and then you have to draw an imaginary line that will be perpendicular to both of them, and that will depict your red line. So what does it represent? It basically represents the depth of the tooth in the mandible or in the bone, and the difficulty that will be encountered while removing the tooth. So basically, you need to know about how much of the bone you have to remove before the application of the elevator. Remember that you have considered an imaginary point of the application of the elevator, but the bone was present overlying it. So in order to reach that point, you need to assess that how much of the bone is required to be removed in order to get to the point of elevation. So now we have certain kind of measurements given that will be indicating the difficulty level. So if the length of the red line it is more than 5 mm, extraction is categorized under the difficult one. 1 mm increase in the depth, the removal becomes 3 times more difficult. If the length it is less than 5 mm, you can easily conduct or you can carry on the case with the local anesthesia. If it is more than 5 mm, then you can carry it under the local anesthesia sedation or general anesthesia. If it is more than 9 mm, so then definitely we will go for the general anesthesia. Or if the tooth it is below the apices of the second molar, in that case also we have to conduct the case under the general anesthesia. So these were some measurements indicating the difficulty level, and they were also telling you about whether to conduct it under the local anesthesia or the general anesthesia. That was the rationale behind the difficulty assessment. Remember that. So now we have the Pedersen assessment, in which we have the difficulty index for removal of impacted third molar, that is the mandibular third molar, and that scale was proposed by the Pedersen. So in that scale, we generally have the classification, and corresponding to that, we have certain values. And at the end, you have to sum up all those values obtained from your scaling, and In that regard, the range of that values will tell you whether it is very difficult, moderately difficult, or slightly difficult. So let us study that. First of all, we will be studying the classification under the spatial relationship. If it is the mesioangular, so you will give it a score of 1. If it is horizontal, so then you have to score it as 2. And if it is vertical, you have to score it as 3. And distoangular, that you will have to score it 4. After that, we will be studying the depth. So remember that under the classifications we have studied the level A, level B, and level C. That level A, the depth will be the high occlusal level, and in that case you have to give the score of 1. Then in the level B we have the medium occlusal level, and we have to score it as a 2. And in the level C, the occlusal level is very much deep, so we will have to score it 3. After that, we will be studying the ramus relationship and the space available, that how the tooth is related to the ramus and how much space is available. So first of all, the class 1, if the sufficient space is available, that is easy and we have to give it a score of 1. In the class 2, we know that there is reduced space, so we will give it a score of 2. And in the class 3, we are seeing that no space is available, so in that regard, we will be scoring it as a 3. After that, the values obtained for each particular case, you have to sum them up, and then you have to compare it with the ranges that are given in the difficulty index. So first of all, if it comes in the range of the 7 to 10, then it is termed as very difficult one. After that, if it comes in the range of 5 to 6, then it is moderately difficult one. But if the score is present in the range of 3 to 4, then it is termed as a slightly difficult one or easy one. So this was a scaling or scoring criteria that was given by the Pedersen in order to assess the difficulty level associated with the impacted mandibular third molar. Now after that, we have the third method, that is the modified parent scale, in which we have first of all the easy one, that is that extraction requires forceps only, and after that we have the easy categorized 2, in which the extraction would be requiring the osteotomy, that is the bone removal. After that we have the difficult 3, in which the extraction will require the osteotomy plus some coronal sectioning as well. So it will be categorized under the difficulty level 3. After that, we have the difficult 4, that is the complex extraction, that is most difficult of the all, in which you have to do the osteotomy as well, and you have to section the root as well. So this was a modified parent scale. After that, we will be studying the relation of the roots to that of the second molar. First of all, relating the point of application of the elevator to the roots of second molar. So point of application of the elevator at the coronal 1/3, it will indicate that it will be an easy impaction. After that, if the point of application of the elevator it is at the middle third, so it will be indicating moderate, easy to moderate one. And after that, if the point of application of elevator it is at the apical 1/3, so it is most difficult of the all. We can see in the diagram as well that coronal 1/3, if your point of application of elevator is here, so then your impaction is easy. And if it is present at the middle 1/3, then it is moderately difficult. And if at the apical 1/3, so it is most difficult of all. For that, the impaction removal, it will be the difficult at if your point of application of the elevator is at the apical 1/3. So this was about all the methods and rationale behind the difficulty assessment level. I hope this video will be helpful for you all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icons. You will get notified about our future videos and updates. Thank you.